No sound, you're correct, sir. Oops. Thanks for letting me know. Why is that thing weird? I have been messing with my OBS and I might have messed a bit too much. I might have been cooking too hard. How you doing, mate? How you doing, dude? I'm making a thumbnail because we had some. As not too long ago, we had a whole talk about Obama's speech, which I thought was kind of important. Today was something similar. And it requires some prep work, as you can see in the title, prep work required. So that's what we're doing right now, making a thumbnail here. Grab that, make it nice and thick. Nice and thick. What? Hello? Ah, there we go. He didn't want to do first. It's like, no, I don't want to, but you must. You must. Anyways, blab, there we go. We're gonna do a few more things though. Oh, you know, always doing as good as my morbus allowed. How about you? Doing good, man. Although this morning was again all rain, 3 hours of rain was delicious. Yes, very fun. But I have survived. I have actually went to the shower, so I'm now clean. Clean Asmo, very clean. Sparkly clean. I even smell good now. I even smell good. It's great. I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. There we go. Yeah, that's one. But we always do two, because one is not enough. Because you don't see, if you go to thumbnails, they're really small. So there will be a very thin line if I don't double this. There. Has to be pixel perfect as always. There we go. Perfection. And there. Also, by the way, dude, for you. You're the first one to hear this today. Enjoy the weekend, bro. Enjoy the weekend. I hope it started for you. Has it started for you? Are you ready? Are you ready weekending? Hope you are, man. Enjoy it. Oh, wrong. I've heard from my brother that there's a hard time getting those Easter eggs nowadays in the shops. They used to get sold out all the time. Do you have the same issues where you have to get more Easter eggs and the shops are like, we don't have any Easter eggs for you. They're all sold already. And you're like, no, now I actually have to find the Easter eggs to hide them so my kids or grandkids can't find the Easter eggs. It's hideception. It's hideception. That's what it is. Okay, that's okay. We gotta start here. I'll save this. Make it a thumbnail. There, and we call this save there, and then we use a different program. Kabam! We use where is this one? Paint.net, because it works. We make the Easter eggs our own here, just normal eggs with some watercolors. Oh, that's cool, man. I used to do it when I was small as well. Just painting watercolor stuff. Install with eggs, it's fine. We want to file it open. Open sesame. But that's kind of fun, man. To just paint the eggs. Ooh. Sorry, some was like burps. Many burps. Layers. Add a new layer. This is something you cannot do in normal paint. That's why that's the whole reason I use this program. Because this little bit I can't do in paint. Let's make it size 50, I guess. Of course, we're going for, where is it? Comic Sans, because that's the best one. That's not big enough. 60? Maybe even 70. Oh, that's 710. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. How about that? Yeah, that's okay. I want to move this a bit. Make it a thickened. There. Yes. That's good. Ah, look at that. Amazing. And now we can use the effects. We're gonna go to object, to outline object. Yes, that's him. That's him. And then we're gonna make this white. Kabam! Look at this. Readable. Bam. And this we save. This is it. This is it. Yes. Thumbnail has been created. Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me? I'm proud of me. Save as. Yeah, save it as wastewatch text. That's fine. Yeah. Good replace it, yes. Okay, flatten. We're now flat. Now, of course, my camera quality is pretty poor, so this doesn't look too great. But it's gonna be small. It's gonna be really small, so you shouldn't notice it. Like you don't notice it from this camera right here, because it's that camera. It's my phone. Whoa! You are so proud. I know you would. I'll get the update he promised me. Yeah, that's fine. Be gone, Satan. Be gone, Satan. Anyways, we got a thumbnail. Check. So we need to go to the things and could you be gone, Satan? That means I need to go to the YouTubes, not have the sound on, and go to this broadcast. That will have to be interesting to change my account as well. If you go to YouTube, it also starts some kind of video you're watching, which I don't want to do. No. So we'll do it off screen there. We're gonna mute that for now. Gonna change that switch account to the right one. We're gonna find this stream, this very stream. Channel. There we are. Hello, channel. The world's wide. This one. This one. And we're gonna edit video. Why is that weird? Why is he there? He shouldn't be there. Title required. This is already. What's wrong with the title? New lines aren't allowed. Oh, okay. Fine. New lines are not allowed. That's kind of weird. Didn't post that warning in when I started the broadcast. That's kind of weird. Anyway, is the video details? I hope it's the correct one. I assume it is, because that should be this one. Anyway, you're there. Change. Thumbnails. Where are we? There we go. My beautiful face. Yes. Now I hope it says yes. It could say no. It could say it's too big. I mean, then my big is then my head is too big for YouTube. That will be official. I have too much brains. Hey, Camploy. Good morning, mate. Now it's gonna start paint. Like, dang it! I pressed simply yes, but it had that little box that says you open the program now. I don't want to. Camploy, how do you, mate? Good morning, man. Just woke up, so I'm a bit quiet. That's fine, man. That's fine. Enjoy your morning coffee. So we have installed the thumbnail. There it is, and we have updated the title, which is well, kind of the same, but now more. Now more. Cool. Also, I should do this. Why did no one tell it to me that I didn't do that? Why didn't you tell me that I forgot something? Something very important. Yes. Yes. Something I haven't done in a while, because there we go. Music. Music. There we go. Much better. Now we can dance again. You forgot something. Now he tells me. Now he. Alucard, you're late. Now he tells me, bastard. Ah, delicious. Oh, Camploy, make sure to eat at least one egg today. Chocolate or otherwise, doesn't matter. At least one egg. It's Easter. You need to. It's mandatory. Also, how did the hole go yesterday? I know you had to leave to install the fences, I believe. I hope it went well. Also, it was a lot of rain this morning, so I hope they're well prepared anti-rust, because there was a lot of rain this morning. I know, it fell on my head. Most of it. That's my ex-girlfriend always said to me, starts crying. Aww. Time for the next. Next, girlfriend. Check. Okay. We've done the things. Now I can unmute this again because I'll have. Oh, it's not muted. Weird. Is it muted? Yeah, unmuted. That is. We're gonna watch this in a second. This is the whole thing. I want to show these two videos because they're really important. They're wild, absolutely wild. But first, we need to do the important things, like we have X over here, or better known as Twitter, because that's the actual name. We have follower people. That's very nice. Is it still pasted? Probably not, right? No, that's my picture. No. What was it? The world is wild, right? The world is wild. Yes, that's what we do. And I will post in hashtag Vlog Brothers, because that's both Vlog Brothers. So put them in there. Don't know if it does anything. Maybe you can add them. I'll add them if it's possible. Yeah. Although I assume it's correct. I need to check that. Is that correct? Can I open our Twitter? Maybe I can without losing the first progress. Vlog Brothers. Let's see. Are they the real ones? Doesn't look like it to me. No. Complete difference. Someone else? I don't know. I do hashtag. We do hashtag. There we go. And then we put down thinking emoji. My own thing, of course. And we put down our brilliant and delightful thumbnail. Yes. That was the thumbnail. That's wrong. That's wrong. There. Thumbnails. Yes. And then put it there. Don't have to crane my neck so much. There we go. Bam. Post it. I should have copied that. I can still do that, right? Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll copy that. Copy. Then we're going to the same thing, but then with a different name. It's not blue. That's all the difference there is. It's all blue. Post that. And oh, weird. Normally this would show. Normally this would not show my thumbnail or my things. It would just show the Twitch logo. That's weird. They must have updated that, because yesterday they didn't do this. But we want this one in there. The beautiful picture. Yes. My first picture on the internet. Yes. It's so gorgeous. Oh, did it work? Did it work? It did work. Yeah, look at it. Camploy. Isn't it magnificent? Isn't it magnificent? Yeah. I hope you're proud of me. I'm proud of me. Anyways, let's get rid of that one. Well, the brother walks in the background. Don't worry about him. He won't bite. Anyways, there we go. Oh, do you like astrophysics? I recommend your YouTube channel if so. I do. Astrophysics. What's his name again? Anton. Anton, do you know Anton? Anton is great. Not sure if I know the guy who just won the world all the time. Anton. Yeah, Anton. I know Anton. Anton is awesome, man. I love that guy. I've been watching for years, man. He's cool. He's really cool. I have this habit of not looking at my camera. I look at what I see on my video feed of the camera. I should look at you, not at. Yeah. I look at the wrong things. I need to learn how to work with a camera. Cameras are new to me. Anyways, I recommend you Star Talk by Neil deGrasse Tyson. Star Talk. I've never heard of this, but let's put it there. Put it there. I'm probably gonna start instantly as this guy. I never really. I watched it once. We can try. I have watched it once and wasn't too keen of it, but I can try it later. I'll put it in the background and we'll watch that. I'll watch it on my own after stream or something. There it is. It's now hidden in the background. Check. But what I want to talk about is what Hank Green this morning posted, and his brother, who's fucking amazing, by the way, amazing guy. And there was some really fun things in there. That just were. I mean, it is a perfect summary of all the nonsense happening at the moment, and I think it just is important. Yeah, it's important to know. It's like the Obama speech. It's like, it feels to me that we should spread the knowledge about this. So music, you are great and amazing. Always from Heartbound. Full war and all. Yeah, let's make this big. Now, I don't know about the volume, so it might be a bit loud. Also, I noticed that they changed this here. It looks different. The big problem I have here, this is the volume mixer. I can put mute here, but there's a difference in distance to get to, you know? It can disappear before you get there. You know? It's really annoying to change your volume if it doesn't you know, it doesn't always, yeah. That's not a good, that's not a good thing, right? Wait, you can't see it, you can see it a bit. And my camera is in the way. I believe it's this button. We do not explode, but it's not this button. And it's loading for some reason. Is it? I forgot which button it is. I forgot the button. Oh wait, it's this button. Oh, it goes to the end then. Interesting. Okay. But what I was talking about was this here. The difference from here to there, which you can't always reach, is just that's a flaw in the design, man. That's a really flaw in the design. Anyways, I'm digressing. I'm back. I should be back. I'm not back. I'm back. There we go. We go back to the beginning.
Good morning, John. One of the things about...
Good morning, guys. Anyways, this is Hank Green. He's, I believe, the owner, and he used to be one of the founding members. Also, the guy who did the first thing about SciShow. I was SciShow for many, many years. And if you want to learn about many things, biology, history, all kind of things, all science-related things mostly. A really good channel to learn from. I used it a lot when I was in biology class still at university. He was awesome.
The way the news happens when Trump is in office is that there's so much of it that it is very difficult to keep track of anything.
This is a problem I have with Trump nonsense. There's so much nonsense to dig through. It's very hard to find what did the guy always do. Because I don't follow Trump on Twitter or X or whatever the hell he's using. I don't. So I'm just following the actual news. But the things I see also, there's a perfect pause location. Look at this guy's face. This is why you should never pause on stream. Or you should. Maybe you actually should. Because what the hell? The face you make in between sentences is just... It's just hilarious, man. It's just great. Anyways, yeah, what Trump is doing is just so weird. It's just so many things of stupidity that's hard to wade through the nonsense. So this is a nice summary here.
I've seen a lot of different people deal with this in a lot of different ways, but I've not seen them try to deal with it using the tried and true YouTube innovation of the tier list.
A tier list for Trump. Yes, a tier list for Trump. Now, what I do want to do, because I want you to be able to see this and comment and stuff, so let's put it into... Hank Green. Now I should type it properly without any spelling errors. I mean, I have some cables in front of me over my keyboard, so it's hard to type. Also, I'm better typing, but it's definitely the wires and not my typing that's at fault, of course. Of course, obviously, you understand, right? Did I copy this? Dang it! Did I copy this? I hope it still works. It changed, so I'm not sure if it works. Let's see if it works. It works.
One of the things...
Cool. It works. Cool. And then we copy that whole thing. Control Z. Control V. Control C. There we go. I had to go get the order right. There we go. And I will pin that. Bam. And then we do the same thing in YouTube's, so they can look for it themselves as well if they want to. There, it's pinned. Check. Also, why is my audio mix so much bigger? There we go. Whoever programmed this is a genius. Yes. I mean, I don't mind them changing this to make it look more sleek and stuff, but yeah, that should not be. I'm using the volume mix over here. I don't know what the time is here now, because this used to be volume mix over here. With straight above it, that thing. I used to watch a lot of anime. Correction, I watch a lot of anime. And you have sometimes the issue where you want to go forward and go past the whole song and dance at the start, because I'm not much to enjoy that. I just want to skip that. Problem is, then you usually also hover over the volume mix, and then the volume mix is in the way, and you mute it instead of skipping it, which is sometimes a bit of battle there. But yeah, this is definitely not good. It should be right above here at the very least. You know, it looks sleeker, but just yeah. Anyways, distractions.
You want to explain to me all the ways that the Trump Liberation Day tariff story has been weird and wild and at times apparently unhinged? I will not be able to listen. However, if you create a tier list of the craziest bits of the story by level of crazy, I'm in. Unfortunately.
By level of crazy. We have to make... He had to make a tier list for Trump's things in a tier list made by level of crazy. I don't know what measure he's using for that, but that's just awesome. That just, there's so much crazy in there that just able to make a little tier list of it. I think it's amazing.
No one else was doing that job, so I find myself having to do it. As complete as I can make it the Liberation Day tier list of crazy. I'm going roughly chronologically here because I don't know how else to do it, so we're going to start on this Liberation Day in which the tariff...
The Liberation Day thing. It's obvious he wants to make his own holiday. Obvious. And he was thinking of Independence Day, it's the best one. So the closer you get to his Liberation Day, because people were confused in the end. In X amount of years, they were like, what's the difference between them? Oh, you know?
Tariffs were announced and they were all called reciprocal, which meant that our tariff rate would match their tariff rate.
It was supposed to be reciprocal. Reciprocal. Yes, difficult word. So it was the idea that we put tariffs on America as Europeans, or the rest of the world, basically, because whatever is outside America is just not outside America. It doesn't really matter where it comes from. So apparently the outside of the world put some kind of arbitrary penalties on America, apparently, if you have to believe what Trump is saying. And he tries to put tariffs back which are the same amount as that we put on him. I don't think that's how economy works, though. I have to be honest, I don't think that's how economy works, right? How trade works. I don't think how any of that works.
Which included tariffs, currency manipulation, and trade barriers.
Wait, that's a nice... Tariffs, currency manipulation, and trade barriers. Now, tariffs is the thing that Trump is doing right now. He's putting tariff, you're going to pay X amount more because it is a car or whatever. And it's because from this place you pay X amount more. And also currency manipulation, which is, there is a thing about a certain tweet from a Trump guy. And that certain tweet was about, this is a good time to buy. Seconds before he did something to change the stock market. He changed the stock market. That is currency manipulation, which he did there live. Which is, by the way, is theft. By the way, is theft and also illegal and stuff like that. And he just did that there because he's, well, interesting fellow. And trade barriers. I mean, trade barriers are, well, can be anything. Can literally be, there is no road towards X, so we can't trade with them. Could be anything, but sure. Can also be economic. That's the fun part. It doesn't. Everyone gets the resource from China, not from the US. So it's a snake that eats its own tail. True, because everything indeed is made in China. I used to work at a certain company, did my internship there, and what they did was they were making dyed cloth for a specific brand, and it was supposed to be the most expensive brand that there was. Let's not put a name to it. It was not for the Western world; it was for somewhere in Africa. But still, it was a very expensive brand of dyed clothing, and to make sure that the clothing dye looked handmade, which it wasn't, it was machine made, but looked handmade, was that they purposely put in little errors. They used what was it? Dye stamps basically, but dye stamps that couldn't handle the force that we put on it, so it would develop cracks, which are mistakes, which are therefore handmade, and they sold as handmade for crazy amounts of money, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. The same thing happens with it's of course it's Nike, therefore it's definitely made in China, or all the other things are made in China. The amount of purses being sold for over $2,000 each, being made for $30 each. That kind of stuff, including everything. Also, we got another stupid bots. I hate bots. Can someone just, you know, say bots be gone? I have to report him because I have to do it properly. Bots. I know one likes those bots. Go away, bots. View bot seller. Luckily, you don't have to look at that, but I have to look at it and have to report all. Verification, check. Close and be banned. There we go. Hopefully we don't get too many of those. Anyway, yeah, market manipulation, potato bears is how, yeah, are things that Trump himself does a lot. So that is so much against it is kind of weird, because he is doing it illegally in the face of everyone and getting away with it somehow, because he basically fires everyone who can hold him accountable. Yeah.
Which, of course, would be very difficult to calculate for one individual country, let alone 200 different countries. And they solved that problem by simply not calculating anything. Instead, of course, we all know this by now, they took the trade deficit and called that the tariff rate, and then discounted it by cutting it in half for some reason. But even though we know that all of these countries do very different things, and there's all...
So... They used to
called that the tariff rate. That problem by simply not calculating anything. Instead, of course, we all know this by now, they took the trade deficit and called that the tariff rate.
So the trade deficit they used and called that,
and then discounted it by cutting it in half first.
Why? I'm just confused. Why? The guy's in the White House. The guy's on a big chair and has control on all the levers of America. Most of them. Too many of them. And he can't find a single mathematician to help him with this, or economist who's actually capable at his or her jobs. What? They can't even calculate things properly? One mathematician. I'm sure there's more than one in the White House. Probably right now. Ugh, okay.
Some reason. But even though we know that all of these countries do very different things, and there's all kinds of different reasons why the trade deficit or surplus would be the amount that it is, they kept calling it reciprocal. So we're going to slide our little representation of reciprocal tariffs over here into E tier, because that's not crazy. It's just misrepresenting stuff in a dishonest way, which makes perfect sense if you feel like you can get away with it. And next...
So... This is crazy. This is just lying. This is basic lying. That's the lowest bar we have right now. E is apparently just basic lying. And we can go all the way up to S, I believe. E or S? I think it's S.
Of course, we're going to talk about the equation. So when the trade deficits aren't...
Have you seen this monstrosity?
With it. And next, of course, we're going to talk about the equation.
This confuses me. I'm no mathematician. My magic in the math is poor. But this looks... the way this looks, it looks like it's made to look confusing. That's what it looks like, right? Delta time, delta time, delta. I know what delta is. I know what delta is. That's the difference. Yes. Anyways, usually with delta t is just the difference in time from start of measurement to end of measurement. Anyways, yeah, this looks like it's supposed to be confusing, because I can't make heads or tails of this. Of course, you don't get to see any explanation around this thing in official things, what everything means. Because if I know what all these things mean, I can calculate things and come to a, hey, conclusion, this works or doesn't. But this is just a really weird looking formula to me. Also, why is this above and below?
So when the trade deficits aren't the same thing as tariffs thing was pointed out, the administration said...
Delta time and I is inflation. They're trying to calculate inflation per time. That sounds awfully simple. That sounds awfully simple for a very complex problem. I don't think you can that easily do that.
Said no. We actually have an equation that we use. However, two of the terms in the equation cancel each other out.
Let's have a look at this, because I'm no mathematician, but they explain to me here. Let's see. Delta's change, yes, in tariff rate. No, so not time this time, it's tariff rate for some reason. Okay, sure. Extra symbols that don't affect the calculation. The I. So the I does nothing. The I is just there to confuse us. Ah, very nice. So the I is just bullshit. Check. Trade deficit is this part apparently. A country's total export to the US is the X here. X could be anything, but sure, okay. Total exports to the US. A country's total imports from the, I guess, US. So they want to see the difference from what they export to what they import. Yes, yes. Now this is the import again, so divided by import. Why? I can't read that. Oh, no, that. Total imports from the US, I guess? I can't read it because there is this in the way. There's little bits in the way. I'd love to see this fully. Can I do this? Will this appear? YouTube. Please let your bar of nonsense disappear. It doesn't. YouTube doesn't work with us. It does not work with us because I can read this. It's behind my face. It's also behind the stuff in the background. I'd love to take this thing apart here. If I go a bit back and see if I can make it quick. I mean, this is going to be complex too. I have to hold my finger on the print screen button.
Said no.
Okay,
we actually
ready?
have an equation
Set.
that we use. However, two of the terms in the equation cancel each other out. So, in fact, the equation is...
We have the print screen. The print screen has been detected. Let's go. It has been print screened. This is, by the way, what I'm looking at. Besides my OBS, because you can't see that. So we're looking at this whole thing. You know what? Let's make it proper. So the confusing formula of confusingness. It's this thing. And someone worked out all the details behind it. I did not, so I cannot verify those. But I can at least see what we're trying to do here. Of course, there's no unit of measurement for... Is there a unit of measurement for trade deficits? I'm not sure if there is. It's not so many grams or kilograms or whatever. There. Cool. That'll do. Nah, bit closer. Okay, it's trade deficit. Fine. So we've got the total imports here. A country's total imports from the... I guess there's US. Let's put their US in. From the US. From the US. So, what do they calculate here? The total imports to the US, let's say it's kilograms or units or whatever. So, I call it kilograms for now because it's simple. Kilograms. I know it could be different. So, this is then also in kilograms because we can just put one x minus m. We can do this. So, these are all apples and apples. Just apples from somewhere else. So, that should be kilogram, if we use kilogram for this. And then this should also be kilogram. Because that's the same thing, only total imports to the US, I guess? That's a question mark, I'm not sure. What total imports are these? I assume to the US. This is apparently bullshit. Defined as 1. Okay, so that's bullshit. 1 times something is just something. You don't have to do that. So we're calculating the difference. So this is delta imports, basically. And in this case, you want your exports to be higher than your imports. Else you get a negative number, right? Yeah, if this is bigger, you get a negative number. And then you want to divide it through the imports to the US. This is gonna make a weird number, man. Because this number will always be a lot smaller than this number. So you get something like 1 divided by, I don't know, 8 or something, or 5, whatever. Divided, hello? Divided by 5. So you always get a very small number over here. And that will be your change tariff rate thing. Okay, this is a weird formula to me. But of course, I'm not a mathematician, so we'll see how it works out. I'm gonna keep that separated. Let's see what they have to say about it.
Just the same thing as the calculation of a trade deficit, which is wild, almost endearingly crazy. I'm going to slide that over into B tier, our first B tier crazy thing. But actually, we got to clone this one. Let's pop them out because there's another crazy thing about this, which is that all of these wild, crazy letters, they didn't need to do that. Like, this is a tau. For tariff, it could have just been a T, and I love that. And that's gonna have to be its own thing on the list. I'll just cut out the tau and just have that be the thing because we gotta slide that into A tier.
So the formula itself is B tier, but that they did all moves to make it more confusing to us for no fucking reason is A tier. Yes, I understand that. This is lying. This is lying with extra steps. Check.
That's A tier crazy right there. Now we're actually going to do that again because this term here, they actually just swap these terms so you end up with a negative number, which doesn't make any sense, but that's not crazy. It's just bad math. So we're going to put that in E tier. Okay, I'm done with the equation, though I am aware that there are other things that people pick apart about this equation, but you're getting bored with it. Next on the list, there's a group of islands on the tariff list that does not contain people. It is populated.
They put on tariffs towards islands where there are no people. There's only birds. How the hell do they get 10% tariffs against the US somehow? If there's no one who lives there who knows what money is. And then, of course, they somehow put a counter of that. So they basically said everything is 10% tariffs. But normally, the tariff rule, at least what they stated first. I mean, how can you call it a rule, right? Where's my paint? Paint, come back here. I need you. I require your services, paint. Come here. There. So if I follow it correctly, what they claimed, of course, and all the nonsense. Also, you know what? I should do this differently. Yeah, that one. Fill, solid color, hue, black, bam, bam. Oh, it's not that. I mean, that'll work. There we go. So I'm not flashbang you too much if I can avoid it. There we go. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken here, they had these tariffs, the whatever, reciprocal. I butchering that. What's it? I don't know if you know what the word is. There it is. It's a word you never hear except from this. So that's apparently this for that thing. So what? Do back. This basically do back what they do to us. Basically, that's the idea. It's not correct, but that's the idea. It's wild. So apparently, shall I call them alien tariffs? I mean, we don't have aliens, but you know, alien tariffs maybe? Is that the word we're using? I'm going to use alien tariffs. I can't type it here for some reason. There we go. Alien tariffs. And then we just, alien tariffs are, let's say, a number. Say 50. Just a number. Just some random number I pull out of my ass. So then should then also be 50, right? If they're reciprocal. I need to learn to speak the word properly. Reciprocal. If they are that, then they should be like this, right? Because then left is right, and that should be fair. But then for some reason they say no. They say no. Let's take this one and big red. They say no to that. They use apparently this then. So I have to make it white again. Is now 50 divided by 2 for whatever reason that is. No one knows. No one knows why this is a thing. This big question mark. Big question mark. Or just many of them. I think we go for many. No one knows why that is a thing. That thing there is a mystery. That is just to confuse us. Oh, so we need to not fill it. No fill. That's just to confuse us. That's a made to confuse us here. That part. So that's apparently how it's supposed to go, right? These were the rules that I've been told that they think are what they want to do. then how do a bunch of birds who have no tariffs get some 10% tariff, while the tariff from them is also 10%? This should be 5% according to their own rules, but they don't follow their own rules. So even if the birds put a 10% tariff on the US somehow, magically, they grow thumbs and they actually make a tariff. Birds with thumbs, oh no. Oh no. Scott, can you imagine? I can imagine it now. The article could be made of birds suddenly growing thumbs and just starting to make tariffs. Oh no. That would be awesome. That would be great. Anyways, so the imaginary 10% tariff that we apparently get from stupid birds do not get divided by 2 for whatever fucking reason, because we don't know what the reason is for this, but it doesn't happen to them. So we get the same tariffs. I'm at a loss, man. They don't even follow their own fucking rules, because these were apparently the rules they stated, right? I mean, this is hilarious. It is sad that it's actually happening, but it's also hilarious. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? It means tariffs are on discount. Oh, discount. Oh, of course. In other words, we get money out of it. We import from the US. Ooh, now that's interesting. You have sold me a fucking big SPC, because I'll take a PC and money. Yes, please. Yes, please. Holy shit, man. This is just utter confusion, man. What the fuck? Yeah. Okay, we're not done. This is just part 2? I think there's a lot more coming. So, yeah. What the hell? It's already a gold mine.
Entirely by penguins. This seems to...
Penguins. With thumbs.
Just be a mistake. But it also indicates that, like, not a huge amount of attention was being paid to something that has really tremendous global consequences for Americans and also everyone else. And let me tell you,
this is the sad part. I need more tea for this. I need more tea for this. What the fuck? Yeah, wait. So, first they lie, which is apparently not insane. Apparently that's normal. It's Trump. It's lying is normal. And then they have terrorists from birds somehow. They have magical formulas which make no sense. And then you put them apart and apparently get a normal formula for something that people already know. And then they put it in. Then they don't even use the formula. And then they divide it randomly by a number for no reason. And it's still reciprocal. Did I actually say it correctly this time? I need to cheat. Reciprocal. I actually said it right this time. Yeah, there we go. My brain is expanding by the sheer stupidity of all this. Yes. What the hell, man? Okay, let them talk. Let them talk.
If there weren't some really wild stuff coming, I would definitely put these penguins in the S tier. But we're gonna go A, because we do need to leave some space for it to get crazier than this. Now, hilariously, U.S. Treasury Secretary Howard Lutnick, we're gonna pop him on here, defended this move, saying it was to close down ridiculous loopholes where a country will export something to another country with a lower tariff and then export from the herd in McDonald Islands, which for clarity does not have people or ports, but whatever. Which I do think is pretty crazy, but it's mostly just dishonest and manipulatively covering up their mistakes. So I'm going to go C tier. Howard Lutnick goes down here in the C tier. But if you want to go deeper into why this is a silly argument, my favorite esoteric craziness of the tariff list is that the United Kingdom has half of the tariff of the European Union. And if you're worried about someone skipping out on a tariff...
Wait. The United Kingdom has half the tariffs of the rest of Europe. There's a weird thing about United Kingdom. There's a weird thing about them. The whole Brexit thing was stupid as well. The thing about them is, roughly speaking, you have your Scotland. I know I'm perfect at drawing. It's actually make it white. We have, of course, a beautiful Scotland. I know it's perfect drawing. We have somewhere England, very beautiful, and we have Ireland with a little piece which is weird. I don't know what it is. So we got this. Now, this part, There. Now this part, as far as I understand, is not EU. Not EU. Apparently. And this part, the other part, there. And this part is EU. And I believe this part is EU too, but it doesn't matter for this thing. But this little bit here, this little slice here, is apparently part of England, I believe, or Scotland or something, and that is then not EU. So things can travel from here to there into the EU with no borders or any kind of crossing. So whatever you put in England can go into the EU through a bit of a weird way without any tariffs or whatever. Without any border controls, any border passes, whatever. Also the other way around. So England is weird in that way. But for some reason, they get half the tariffs. So you kind of want to ship everything you own or everything you want to sell towards the UK and send it from there, because then you get only half the tariffs if you ever want to trade with America again. But let's just assume you want to for some weird reason.
Tariff by sending a product to a country with lower tariffs first and then exporting it from that country to the US instead of the original country. Let me introduce you to a country that has both ports and people. It's Northern Ireland. This is important because of the S-tier craziness that was Brexit. As far as trade is concerned, Northern Ireland is in both the United Kingdom and the European Union. The existence of Northern Ireland as a place that has both a 10% and 20% tariff because of the no-deal Brexit, I'm gonna call that A-tier crazy. So now you know one place that would really benefit from these tariffs. Everybody in the EU would be sending their stuff to Northern Ireland before it got exported to the US. Next,
obviously,
this is not something that Trump intentionally did here, but it is a consequence of it, and I think that it is S-tier crazy. We're finally getting to the S-tier. Japan, China, and South Korea, in response to all of this instability that has been...
Japan, China, and North Korea. North Korea. I'm pretty sure they're not the best of friends usually, right? I mean, North Korea has tried to invade Japan. North Korea is not friends with anyone, actually. They're at the moment friends with Russia, but then they're not friends with Russia. I mean, they're weird. Then Japan and China have long-standing feuds about which part belongs to whom, and actually China wants everything, and Japan doesn't want to give their stuff to China, of course. Not really the best of friends. Not really best of trade relations. And this is a consequence of Trump's nonsense.
Been created by a bunch of, like, not just this, but just no one knowing what's going on with the US anymore. They signed a significant trade agreement, and I just need to emphasize these countries do not like each other. They don't like each other so much that historically they have worked with other trading partners in the West, like America and Europe, so that they do not have to work directly with each other. But now, apparently, we've pushed them to figure out their problem.
To clarify, Korea tried to invade Japan, not... Korea tried it, not North Korea. Since they split up, they keep their toes relatively still. Fair enough. Then I was wrong with that. But still, they're not friends at all. That this picture exists. Can I find it? It's probably too small.
Response to all of this instability that has been created by a bunch of, like, not just this, but just no one knowing what's going on with the US anymore. They signed a significant...
This picture here. Burn it into your retinas. Print screen this. Because this is ridiculous. This is not something that should happen. I mean... It's good that they work together. I don't mind that at all. It's these three hate each other, so that they're on one picture, attempting to smile, holding each other's hands. Yeah, that's not going to happen too easily anymore. This is a good result from Trump's whatever nonsense he's doing, because it brings the world a bit closer together. It also two things happening at the same time here for Europe. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia made sure that, Europe is like, oh wait, we need to defend ourselves. Yes, let's defend ourselves. And then America, with mostly Trump, is like, we don't defend you because you don't defend yourself. So we now have a lot of emphasis. I see it a lot on the news and on commercials as well, to get more people for the army. Our armies are growing. We're gonna arm up again, which we have been neglecting for many, many years. That's true. But now we're actually forced to do that, and we're also forced to no longer trade or trade less with America, because we're way too dependent on their economy. And it's all very good for us, actually. I mean, I'm not saying it's all good results for the world, and etc. But it brings neighbors close together, and here's the Asian part is coming close together. Trump is great for the rest of the world, not for his own country, though. But this is just ridiculous. This is not something that I would expect to ever see. Yeah, and there it is. All three of them.
Trade agreement, and I just need to emphasize, these countries do not like each other. They don't like each other so much that historically they have worked with other trading partners in the West, like America and Europe, so that they do not have to work directly with each other. But now, apparently, we've pushed them to figure out their problems, which is great for China, that's for sure. World peace, I guess. Just the fact that this picture exists, you guys, that is historically S-tier crazy. Now, while we're in Asia, I have given Vietnam its own spot in this.
This part is brilliant. This part is one of the best parts.
Tier list, because they ended up with the highest average tariffs under the original tariff scheme. And this is wild. A 90% tariff on Vietnam is so crazy because they aren't a major competitor in high-tech or strategic manufacturing. The reason we have a very large trade deficit with Vietnam is because we have a really solid trading relationship with them, which is working. And that's kind of amazing given our history. And also, Vietnam is a key partner in diversifying supply chains away from China, which is exactly what US trade policy says that it wants.
So, Vietnam here is a very good trade partner with America. They have a very off-balance trade deficit, 90%, which I assume they export mostly to the US. I guess, just a random guess, I think coca or coffee stuff or farm stuff, I assume, that they sell to America. And America uses all that stuff, and they have a very good relationship with them. And it makes sure they can produce things like China does for low labor costs and stuff without having to go to China. But now China is growing stronger. China is growing larger. And working together with Korea, North Korea in this case, and Japan, which usually were enemies. Trump is reinforcing China. And I mean, I'm not saying China is a heavenly country or anything. I don't know much about it. I just hear that there's a lot of people scared of China. But if you're scared of China and try to keep them small, this is actually the opposite thing. Yeah, also it alienates you from one of your best trading partners ever. Yeah. Anyway.
So giving our trading buddy the harshest tariff treatment of everyone on the list, that is S-tier crazy. Almost as if this extraordinarily impactful policy was not well thought through, which...
No, really? They didn't think this through properly? They didn't sit around with economists and mathematicians and politicians who know what they're talking about and actual experts in the fields and diplomats and, you know, all those people who know what the hell is happening over there and what is a good response and what is a bad response. I think they skipped all those people. They were like, number says up, it must go up.
If I had that its own thing on the list, probably it would also be an S tier. Okay, and back to the trade deficit thing. Do you notice how a lot of countries are getting 10% tariffs on this list?
Yes.
Well, I thought maybe those countries were like less consequential, not big trading partners, or maybe it was because they were really good trading partners that were allies, that we had good relationships with. But looking at the list, there didn't seem to be any pattern that made sense to me. Well, it turns out that these are countries that we have trade surpluses with. They buy more stuff from us than we buy from them.
They buy more stuff from the Americas than Americas buys from them. That's exactly what they want. That is, they should give those people money, right? According to this weird thing, they should basically give those people money. But they still tariff them. They still punish them. It feels like Trump wants America not to trade with anyone. I mean, that's what it looks like he's trying to do, that no one wants to trade with America, because it's unreliable, because of leadership. They need to pay tariffs, which no one wants to, and is arbitrary. And it's unreliable as hell, because he goes in and forth with opinions, so it's absolutely unreliable market to go into. He's making America less and less of a good trading partner. And people are looking more and more for any other trading partner. Look at the picture of the three guys from Asia. Any other trading partner than America. Any other.
And yet, we're still saying that their base rate is 20% and we're going to have that to 10%? Like, that's S or A. I'm going to call this A because it is crazy. But it's not, like, everything that's S tier on this list is just so weird and ridiculous. Speaking of close trading partners, the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, which is the trade agreement that replaced NAFTA, which Trump tore up to do all these new tariffs on Canada and Mexico. That was signed in a previous Republican administration.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump's first term. Here he is.
Yes. He did it himself. He trashed his own work. Yes.
Celebrating the signing of that agreement that he has now destroyed with the leaders of those countries. For anyone else, S tier crazy. For Trump, I don't know, C tier, like not that weird, honestly. And also, again, we gotta leave room in the S tier.
I love the part where he has to say, yeah, for everyone else, S tier crazy. For Trump, however, we have a different scale. We need a different scale for this guy, this one guy. Yes, we do. Actually do.
For stuff like this. So Trump loves tariffs for a lot of different reasons. One of them is that his advisor, Peter Navarro, also is a really big advocate for tariffs, though this is not a universal thing in people in his administration. For example, Elon Musk recently called Navarro a moron. Now, Navarro has written several books in which he talks about why tariffs are good, and he has cited this pro-tariff economist who is named Ron Vara, which is, an anagram for Navarro. And yes, it turns out that Ron Vara is not a person who exists. So
wait, let me hear that again, please.
Tariffs, though this is not a universal thing in people in his administration, to do all these new tariffs on Canada and Mexico. That was signed in a previous Republican administration. Donald Trump's first term. Here he is, celebrating the signing of that agreement that he has now destroyed.
Also, brilliant picture, by the way. He's so photogenic. He is.
With the leaders of those countries. For anyone else, S tier crazy. For Trump, I don't know, C tier, like not that weird, honestly. And also, again, we gotta leave room in the S tier for stuff like this. So Trump loves tariffs for a lot of different reasons. One of them is that his advisor, Peter Navarro,
yes,
also is a really big advocate for tariffs, though this is not a universal thing in people in his administration. For example, Elon Musk recently called Navarro a moron. Now, Navarro has written several books in which he talks about why tariffs are good, and he has cited this pro-tariff economist who is named Ron Vara.
Peter Navarro and Ron Vara. He has cited this man as a source, as an expert in the field, in his own book.
Which is, an anagram for Navarro. And yes, it turns out that Ron Vara is not a person who exists.
So he cites a fictional character in his book to make his reasoning sound good. And the fictional character, of course, himself. With with an anagram that is just... That 12-year-old boys do that and think they're smart. That's what it is. It's Voldemort level stuff.
What do you do with a situation like that? Making up a pro-tariff economist for your book, I think, is like C tier crazy. But naming him like you're a teenage Lord Voldemort is S tier crazy. And this probably doesn't...
And that is his chief economist, right? That's Trump's chief economist.
matter to anyone, but when they calculated the trade deficit, they only did it on goods and not services, and of course the US...
When they calculated the trade deficits, the whole magic over here, when they calculated the trade deficit and stuff, the whole magic, over here, this thing, the range thing, they only did half of the work. They only did half of the... What?
Provides a lot of services for places elsewhere in the world. I think if you're going to calculate a trade deficit, you should include all of the things that we do, but whatever, we're going to put that in D tier. Also going in D tier is the cost of living is the thing that got Trump elected, and of course putting a giant tax on a bunch of things is going to increase the cost of living, but like, what? I don't...
Trump was going to lower the cost of living. Everything he does is against the American economy. So, another lie. Yay!
I don't know. But I feel like, weirdly, even though that was, of course, the most important issue in the election, it is no longer the most important issue, and it's not something people are thinking about very much, which, okay, we're just going to put that in D tier. But this next thing I think does matter. The reasons Trump has given for the tariffs are contradictory. So, of course, it would be fine to have multiple reasons for doing something, but not if one of the reasons makes it impossible to do the other reasons. So Trump has both said that the tariffs are going to be a thing that lasts forever and are going to like raise a bunch of money to help pay for his tax cuts. And
I've heard that it's going to pay for things, going to make people rich, non-snot and stuff. And yeah, it's going to be forever. Also that part forever. You don't want any kind of agreement like that forever, because you can't maintain that. He's only president for 4 years, hopefully, if at that. And you can't promise forever. You can never, ever promise forever. Or you cannot promise never either. You cannot promise either of those. Because you can't control that. It's stupid.
They are a tool that he's going to use to get countries to do what he wants them to do. But in that case, he would have to make the tariff go away after they do what he wants them to do. And then they would not be raising money for his tax cuts. And in the same way, bringing manufacturing back to the US is a contradictory goal to using the tariffs for, a negotiation purpose, because then you have to let the tariff go, and then manufacturing doesn't come back to the US. And manufacturing especially doesn't come back to the US if no one knows what is ever going to happen. Manufacturing doesn't really go anywhere because everybody was waiting around to see what happens next, which is a thing that we will get to. But the fact that the reasons given for the existence of the tariffs are not just like a list of reasons, they're a list of reasons that all contradict each other. I'm going to put that in.
Yeah, contradictions that's the kind of funny thing about Trump. I greatly enjoy it when he puts out a tweet or says something. He just loves to hear himself talk, so he keeps talking. And he starts to contradict himself. I'm of the opinion that he can't do 3 sentences without contradicting himself. That's my current estimate. I could be wrong. He might be able to hold on for a little bit longer, but he just keeps contradicting himself all the fucking time. Also, he just keeps talking forever without any kind of goal. And then he loses track of his own talking and then just starts, blabbering, basically. Most presidents that I know of had, speeches prepared for them, so they wouldn't get in legal trouble, they wouldn't get to contradict themselves, etc. And there would be a time limit on how long they could talk. Not Trump, though. He's too smart for that, apparently.
B tier, because it does seem pretty crazy to me, because it prevents anyone from having any idea what's going on, which I think...
Not having any idea what's going on, I think, is what they want. I mean, case in point, this thing. Because if people don't know what's going on, it's like in games, the economy stuff, right? And loot box nonsense. You have to get an amount of money, which you have to convert into in-game currency, which then usually are used a few other in-game currencies, which you also need to get to obfuscate how much actual money you're pumping into that system. It's to confuse you, to make sure you can't see it properly, and therefore you overspend or you do wrong things because you do not see the consequences. This is a way to get people to spend way more money on things than they should. even more than they want to do themselves. Confusing people is nowadays it's a whole business, because a whole lot of businesses only run because people don't see how much it costs or how much it is, or confusing people is the name of the game nowadays. Unfortunately, it's really awful. So I can see that will be a goal. I don't see what the end goal is then with that confusion, what to do with that, but
is bad for most people. But next, he canceled them. So
he canceled the tariffs. He's been talking about this for ages and been threatening people and making them very high and very low. And then he canceled them. Wasn't that what Soul Liberation Day was about? To invoke them and it would be forever, eternal? Okay.
This is, I mean, wow. Like, the trade war with China is still happening, but as does seem to happen over and over, all of this weirdness went on only for it to stop or get paused or to be something that's sitting out there, maybe going to happen, maybe not. Some countries seem to have offered some concessions, others definitely did not, but the result doesn't seem to have been positive. Now, canceling them does seem to have been good. Like, it has prevented the sort of economic collapse that we seemed to be headed into. So it's not crazy outside of the original context of him being the one who implemented the tariffs in the first place 9 days ago. So I'm going to say this is E-tier crazy. Like, it's actually, that's the most sane thing that happened in all of this. Now, speaking of, there have been headlines that are like, the stock market just had its biggest gain ever. And I'd say those headlines are A-tier crazy. Like, the unit of a day is arbitrary and everyone's retirement account is still worth like 6% less than it was last week. But let's talk about why the result of announcing and then pausing these tariffs hasn't been positive.
Oh. Wasn't there a bit about market manipulation? In the whole tariff things that was to counter market manipulation, right? Yeah, that part. Remember that part?
Like, despite the tariffs probably going away, why have trillions of dollars of value in the stock market evaporated since April 2nd? And the first reason I'm going to give you is stability. So everything thrives on stability. I run a couple of businesses. Together they have around 100 employees. One of those businesses is import sensitive. One of them is not. But right now, both companies, including the one that isn't particularly sensitive to imports, have a lot more hesitation now than they did a month ago around investing in new product lines or new shows or whatever. Not just because we are unsure of what tariffs are going to be like, but because we're unsure of what the economy is going to be like. It's messy. It's really hard and confusing right now, and it's easier to sit on capital in an environment like that rather than make investments that you think are probably but maybe not going to pay off.
That's a dangerous situation. If you make the investors hesitant, it means there will be less investment, there will be more money put into boxes and maintained there, and money that sits still is not economy. That's just money. That's just wasted wealth. Until you use it, it becomes economy. So the more you put a little in a big jar, the less out there doing what money should be doing. Your economy will tank. Your economy will tank hard. And all opportunities are things that are derived from investments. I think that's the biggest blow to economy you can have, basically. And it's all because of uncertainty, which Trump directly causes. Yeah.
Economies thrive on stability, including the American economy, and the current environment of intentional instability is bad. If it were being done for a purpose I understood, I think that maybe I'd get it, but for me, intentional introduction of instability in exchange for everything being put back the way it was a week ago for no apparent gain is S-tier crazy. And the same thing goes for trust. Now, President Trump believes that trade deficits are somehow the same thing as, like, not just losing money, but being stolen from, even though obviously we as a country consume more than many of our trading partners because we have a lot of people. We're the third biggest country, and those people consume a lot.
How many people do live in America? $340 million people live in America. $17.8 million people live in the Netherlands over here. Can Can I put it next? There we go. Yeah. Yeah. We need to buy an awful lot of cars and appliances and whatever nonsense to get anywhere close to what these people are spending to buy from us. And of course, we can buy from other places, but let's just assume we're the only trade partners. You cannot equalize that. Because there's just, you have too many people compared to us. So we can't do that. We will never be rich enough to do so. We will never, I don't have the space for it. So, yeah, we can never reach a trade balance where we both have the same amount of export and import. We can't. It's impossible. Simply physically impossible. We just don't have the people for that. Yeah. Anyway, a little sidetrack there, but...
Good.
No, not this one. This one.
Largest economy. So it makes sense that a lot of countries buy less stuff from us than we buy from them. But President Trump seems to believe that everything is about either winning or losing, and there's no such thing as a mutual benefit, which results in tweets like, "Do not retaliate and you will be rewarded." Such thing as a mutual benefit, which results in tweets like, "Do not..."
It says the White House, and at the White House, I can't guarantee that's Trump. But, one, it's all caps. That's one. Two, do not oppose your overlords and we will throw you a bone. That's how it sounds like. It sounds like someone talking to slaves or someone talking to people he or she defines as lesser. It's like someone talking to a dog they don't like. All caps as well. This is official. What? This is stuff they... Wow. I think there should be a school for people who get children, because they need to be able to educate the children, need to be able to raise those kids. I think we need a school for people who become president to learn the basics of policy. What I actually think is that a presidential election should not ever be able to be bought. I think there should be not a single, no, zero companies attached to any kind of person running for any kind of high office in a government seat. Because companies and people at the top of them are there to make money. They're there just to make money, more money, better. So that pulls in people who are there to be ruthless, to be there to rake in the money and make out like a bandit. That's not a good trait for someone who has to lead the people. Because if you need to lead the people, money and economy should be a tool, not a goal. The goal should be the happiness of your people. But if your goal is your own personal wealth instead of, well, the good of the people, you get this kind of bullshit. So I don't think that with any kind of political high power situation, a company should be attached to it at all. Not once. And let me be frank, the entire Congress, I believe, with their lobbying, which basically is just, as far as I understand it, is 90% is just bribery. That's not a good thing either. I'm not saying we have the perfect system, we do not. There's many flaws in our system. But if we have a prime minister, at the moment that's Geert Wilders, who's pretty far right, by the way. He's pretty against immigration stuff. But he has to work together with other parties to make a full cabinet to be able to do things. He can't just run the show on his own. He is not separate from the rest. He needs to work with the rest. So he has more accountability and more people to please. And those people are not allowed to be bribed. Of course, there will be some bribes, but that's a rarity. not the norm as is in America. So it's the whole system there is really fucking awful. I'm not even talking about how they use cleverly planned voting regions so they can make the losers seem the winners, because those you have to elect a voter for you, and the amount of voters that are Republican or Democrat, because there is no other choice basically, can be different, who is in majority there, than from the people who chose for those same voters. So you can have as far as I understand, and of course I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please tell me how it actually works, but this is how I understand it. Come here. Let's make it simple. We have 100 people. Just 100. Nice and simple. Let's make it also white. 100 people. This is how I understand it. And let's say we have, in this case, we have two parties. And we have 5 vote people. 5 vote people, that's what we have. So that would make Democrats and Republicans. That's what they have. They have no other options basically, as far as I understand it. So these are the parties. There's 3 guys here. There's 2 guys here, and they can make, let's see. And these guys need to choose between left or right. So you got, you have to go for each separately here. There we go. And let's say it's just equalized vote. So they all have 20 voters. They all have 20 of them. Let's see if I can do it properly. So there's all votes equally for all of them. There we go. Let's put this a little bit to the side. There. So all equally voted. So Democrats should win this, right? But then they use lobbying to, after these guys have voted for these guys, lobbying to make one guy go to that side. Maybe he gets a new car, maybe he gets a new house, whatever. Suddenly that guy that you voted for because he was Democrat is now Republican. But you already voted for him. And he gets a brand spanking new car. And suddenly the Republicans win here. Yeah, stuff like that happens. Or stuff like where they change the boundaries, where suddenly you have more vote people for Republicans because they just drew the lines differently on where to in what zone people can vote on this. It's a system full of manipulation options, and it seems really bad for the common folk. It's really bad. I need to really look into this. I need to know more about this, because it feels so ripe for manipulation. But I can't really put my finger on where the biggest problem is. I think there's too many of them, frankly. But this is a world-class tweet over here. World-class. 100%.
Not retaliate and you will be rewarded. But this destroys trust. It destroys trust between the US and the rest of the world. It isolates us and it leaves other countries.
This is also a big thing here. This little thing about himself here.
Do not retaliate and you will be rewarded. But this destroys trust. It destroys trust between the US and the rest of the world.
The US and the rest of the world. This is being used way too often. This is a really bad thing. Let's put a minus there. If we in the Netherlands have a problem with a country, right? We say we have a problem with Belgium. We have a problem with the Belgian car manufacturer or whatever. Or we have a problem with Germany. A problem with that country. We don't say we have a problem with the rest of the world. Because the world's freaking big and there's a lot of things in it. And I might have a problem with Belgium. Which is, let's see, the Netherlands. Here's Belgium. It's right there. Luxembourg is right here. And then we have, of course, Germany. Big old, massive Germany over there. And then there's France. Also big and massive. So, we can have a problem with the Belgians. But does not mean that we have a problem with them. With the Germans, which are also part of the world. Or with the Luxembourg's ones. We can have a problem with one single country. We never have a problem with the rest of the freaking world. Because that's stupid. There's so many of them. They're really close by. We can, I mean, I walk just less than an hour and I can reach any of these places. Well, not Luxembourg. We can reach most of these places here. I can reach France in an hour. I can use Belgium in an hour. 20 minutes. Not even. And I can reach Germany within 30 minutes. America has a problem where, one, it is humongous. And then it only has Canada above it and Mexico beneath it. And many of these people never get to deal with any of the rest of the world. So they think they're the only ones. Which is incorrect. There's so many more out there. Never have a problem with the rest of the world. Using this phrase isolates you. Using this phrase makes you alone in a very big world. And America is insanely big. But it's not the biggest. Not by far. Russia is way bigger. I'm not sure how big China is in comparison. It could be similar size or bigger. I don't know. But you never have a problem with the rest of the world. This whole saying here is a really bad saying. Don't ever say US and the rest of the world. No, US and this country. US and this place. Not everyone on one big heap and make them all your enemy. Because there's many of us. Many countries, let alone people. And as many of us, you do not have a problem with. And the other way around as well. So this is a really bad statement already. And it shows how detached the US is from seeing themselves as part of the world. They're seeing themselves as the world. Or seeing them as against the other parties who are far away. They don't really consider Canada or Mexico usually. Because many of them never even meet anyone from there. This country is so big it isolates itself. That's the problem. And it is being reinforced at schools and stuff. Because the whole phrase, make America great again, that whole nonsense. America was great. Just before Trump came to office, America was great. It was a superpower. People respected it. They traded with it. America did a lot of the policing around the world. Meaning our armies were smaller, we felt we were safe. And a lot of our trade went to America. America is already great, or used to be great, before this bastard. How much greater can you make America? You can't. You can dream for utopia, that will never happen. It's ludicrous. And things like this irk me. Because this is a really, really bad sign. If you talk about your country versus the rest of the world, you have done something wrong already. From the basics, you're wrong there. And that is just... I can't comprehend how bad that is. Because if you use phrases like this normally, that means you already separate yourself. It's the whole Democrat-Republican thing. Where you have to be either one or the other. You have to be with us or against us. There is no gray area. There is no, hey, we both agree on X thing. No, enemies and enemies roar. That's what it is. That is wrong. You need a lot of parties. So you can say, I'm a bit more with that. I like this as well. These have good points. And you make a amalgamation of them to see, hey, that's where I fit in. That's where my opinion fits in best. Two is bad. Two is bad. We talked about this last time, by the way. Where the whole, for the hiring thing. If you have a table here and you are trying to get hired. This is the recruitment guy. They usually want you to sit on opposite side of the table, but then you have this automatically you have this antagonistic view of each other because you're opposing each other. You're looking at each other and hey, he's the enemy because he's opposing me. They're counter each other. They don't work together. If you, however, position yourself over there and sit next to the person, now you're working together and you have literally the same outlook on the rest. So you can both work together to solve the problem that is out there. Never be on the exact opposite of someone you want to get something from or you want to help out. This counts in dates, this counts in getting jobs, interviews, stuff like that. But this is an automatic response for someone who is directly in front of you, facing you. That's a challenge. That's not a cooperation. You want to be next to someone. You don't want to be in front of someone who's looking directly at you, because that's a collision course, literally. And America, because it only has two options, it's either Democrats or Republicans, it's always a us versus them mentality. There's way too much us versus them mentality. Also, funny that this word is us, not just US. It's also fun, because it's already inherently, that acronym already makes inherently us versus them. The psychology goes wrong here on so many freaking levels. It's sadly no surprise that this is happening. It's sadly no surprise. It's just ludicrous how bad it's going, but it's sadly not a surprise. Anyway, let's keep going.
It isolates us and it leaves other countries in an opportunity to come in as a more trustworthy potential partner. Degrading the long-standing trust that the United States has with much of the world destabilizes the global economy and
much of the rest of the world again.
Weakens our strength in the world, and then
or strength and the world once again separated. I mean, he's doing his best, of course. He's a great guy, but that's ingrained. That's an ingrained thing in America that I see. That just us versus the world. Always us versus them.
Postponing the tariffs, just like he's done a bunch of other times with other tariffs, just makes it look like no one can trust anything we do. This is S-tier crazy. Okay, we are at the second to last thing. Just before canceling the tariffs, Trump posted to his people on Truth Social, "This is a great time to buy."
Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. Also, his awful picture. Make himself to the United States flag. He's trying to manipulate people more to think that he is America. That's what he's trying to do here. This whole thing is just making him look like he is America. So therefore, whatever he says is correct.
He even signed it to make sure that we all knew that it came from him. One assumes that when he posted this, he knew he was about to make the market go up by 10 or 20%. This is so gross. It's basically saying, hey, use my social media platform that I own, and then when the stock goes up, I get richer, and I will help you do insider trading. I don't know if people understand this, but insider trading is theft. You are using information that you have to buy something from someone who does not have that information, and when the price goes up 30 minutes later, that's money that would have been theirs and is now yours. Insider trading is illegal because it is theft. And posting something like this, when you know you're about to do something to make the stock market go up, feels to me like encouraging theft. It is S-tier crazy. It is really bizarre behavior, and the only way I can explain it in my head is that Trump thinks that loyalty to him, like being a fan of him, is the most important thing that exists, and it far exceeds loyalty to the country or to the Constitution or to the rule of law. And like, you need to reward that loyalty more than you would reward loyalty.
Something else I notice. I hear a lot about the Constitution. Constitution here, Constitution there. Fifth Amendment, Fourth Amendment, whatever they called. There's so many of them. We have a grondwet. We have a constitution. No one knows or quotes ever the constitution in the Netherlands. We never do that. Because it's the basic rights we have. We don't need to quote that. We have that. Why do we need to quote things like that? Why is it so important to know the Constitution? Why is it so... Why are people so focused upon the law? I mean, if you're a lawyer or if you're a judge or stuff like that, then obviously you should know about it. But normal people that even use that word in normal speech is baffling to me. That it baffles me. Why? What do I care that you have the right to bear arms? You have weapons. We know it's allowed. Why do you have to say it? That's America, of course, not here. It's baffling that it has to be brought up all the time. I don't understand why.
To the rule of law. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's mind-boggling. And the fact that it feels like this kind of theft is normalized is probably also why bets that the stock market was about to go up spiked just before the announcement was made, indicating that a bunch of people with insider knowledge of the Trump administration used that knowledge to steal a bunch of money from people who didn't have that insider knowledge. And that behavior, I don't think is crazy at all. That's S-tier illegal, but if you don't think that you could ever get caught or prosecuted because your boss runs the Justice Department, that's not crazy. It's illegal, but if it doesn't matter when things are illegal or not,
yeah,
then it's rational behavior, which brings...
Yeah, there's also this thing where Trump breaks so many rules and so many laws, and the laws of his own country, that he undermines the whole system of law and order. And indeed, we have I watch a lot of Legal Eagle, and I think the law is about to collapse. I mean, not collapse literally, of course, but it's gonna go very bumpy for the law, because a lot of things in America, which as I say, I watch Legal Eagle a lot, and there's all about precedents. Has it ever happened before? Has this ever happened before? They don't look at the thing itself. They look, has that before? What did they choose? They don't make their own choice if they don't have to. They always go for what did someone else do. If you're the judge, you have to judge someone. You have to judge them according to the law. What does the law state? Not what did that guy over there once upon a time do. What does the law state about this situation right here? Why does it matter that he got something else out of it? That was a different law, different judge, different situation, different place. And in America, oftentimes different place means different laws. Why is precedent so important? I think it's weird. Anyway.
Brings us to the last headline that I saw about all of this before I actually needed to start exporting this video. Trump says he will consider exempting some companies.
I give you a moment to read this. I give you a moment. Trump says he will consider exempting some US companies from tariffs. Trump says he will consider exempting some US companies from tariffs. He will choose those US companies who are, of course, most loyal to him, like the insider trading we just saw. He will choose those companies who are doing his will. He is making an oligarchy right now, right here, by changing the laws, in this case the tariffs, to suit the ones who are supporting him. I don't think you can get much clearer than this, that he's trying to become the oligarch, the forever ruler. And people will do his bidding because he can change the law. Which he technically doesn't have the power to. That's what Congress is for. This is sickening to watch. Sickening as well, because it's not just a small country in the middle of nowhere, far away, which you don't have to deal with. This is fucking America. The country with the biggest army, the most amount of nukes in the world, all those carriers going around. This guy, I have to refrain from saying other words, is in control of all that. I mean, some of you might be American, and you see this as well, but as a non-American, this is fucking scary to watch. The whole Trump thing is a fucking scary thing to watch. I'm just waiting till something extreme will happen. I'm just waiting till he declares a war, till someone do something against Trump that is too far. I'm just waiting for the moment, because this guy is a powder keg, and that will blow up at some point. And I hope I'm not on the other end of the explosion, because this can only go wrong. But this is next tier disgusting.
From US tariffs. This is how you create an oligarchy. You say to the big, powerful business people, if you behave and do things that I like, I will use the power given to me by the American people to help you out and do the things that you like. Do small businesses get that help? Of course not. And that's great for the big businesses. It means that they have less competition. It's just terrible for consumers. But you see how all of these like formerly capitalist business owners don't actually have any ideological allegiance to capitalism. They will absolutely become oligarchs the moment you give them the chance. That is a top-tier disaster for the country. It's a top-tier power grab, but it's not crazy at all. It is people behaving rationally. And I really do believe that there is a bit of a logic here to some of what just happened. He destroyed a huge amount of value, but he has converted some small portion of that value to power that's just for himself. But because it's only for himself rather than spread out around many, many people, it's actually a lot of new power for Donald Trump, because he gets to use these tariffs to strong-arm companies into doing what he wants them to do. But let's end with a couple of entirely non-crazy things here. For example, Elizabeth Warren saying that members of Congress shouldn't be allowed to trade stocks. Yeah.
No lawmaker in Congress should be able to own, buy, and sell individual stocks. We need to ban congressional stock trading, and I've got a bill for that. That's already a law here. I think an addendum should be no lawmaker in Congress should own a company. They cannot be a company owned either. Because that's, both these things would start this kind of nonsense where you can make an oligarchy of at the moment still 3 people. Stock trading should not be for the people who can control the stock market on their own. That is market manipulation, which is for a reason illegal in almost all countries. I think all of them actually. It's to make sure that not anyone can control the markets and become stupidly rich like Trump is trying to do here. This is something that should have been a law years ago. From the inception of the idea of stocks, this should have been a start. This should be the first thing you do. And it took them so long. And they probably still won't do it because all lawmakers in Congress own stocks. I guarantee you that. All of them do. Because it gets them rich. And that's, well, I joke around greed is good, but people are greedy. That's what we are. We all want the best for ourselves, of course. Look out for number one, you know? That's what we all want. That's normal. That's natural. But that should be separated from lawmaking processes. Because else you get extreme things like this.
Be allowed to trade stocks. Yeah, do that yesterday. That's ridiculous. Why would you, even if you aren't going to do it in a way that's shady, you're a public servant. You need to put that in trust and not touch it. Why even open up the discussion that you might be doing this, let alone actually have a track record of consistently beating the market, Nancy Pelosi? And
well, there's it.
Another non-crazy thing, Republicans standing up in Congress and saying that the Constitution is pretty clear that the body with the power to levy new taxes on the American people is not the president. but instead is Congress. That's the second article. It's not even an amendment. That's not crazy at all, right? Like, that's a good policy. Almost as if the framers of the Constitution, the founders of this country, thought there should be checks and balances on the power of different branches of government. Otherwise, perhaps a president might make some pretty bizarre choices that would result in some pretty bad outcomes for individual Americans, while nonetheless consolidating power around him. John, just a note, I'm making this video on Thursday, April 10th and releasing it on the 11th, and who knows what will have happened in those 24 hours. So if I miss...
He laughs about this, but this is a genuine concern, because this is anti-Trump stuff, obviously, with proof, with all kind of text we can actually look up. He's in danger right now. He actually is. I'm a bit further away, and I'm reacting to his content. I'm not making the content, so I think I'm kind of safe, but he's in danger right now, because now people start zipping his way, because he is a pretty big guy. He has 3.98 million subscribers, this guy. And many more watch, because people tend not to subscribe for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it's only usually 5 to 10% subscribe. So if you haven't yet subscribed to me, do it now, please, because I'm pretty sure you haven't. Because the chances are so low. But yeah, he's actually putting himself in danger right here. This is a dangerous situation.
Miss anything, I'm not surprised. Also, John, thanks to you and everybody who's been working with you on going to DC to lobby Congress to continue and escalate the fight against the most deadly infectious disease, not just of today, but of all time. We can and will still do great things as a species, and that includes one day having people not die of preventable diseases. You're amazing. I'm proud to be your brother, and I'll see you on Tuesday.
This is about tuberculosis. That's this guy here, his brother. He's fighting tuberculosis for years, and mostly trying to get the companies that make the mostly to try to get the companies that make the medicine to be less exorbitantly extorting people. And yeah, it's tuberculosis can be treated, but we don't. I don't know why. We annihilated, what was it? Polio, the pox. We annihilate both of them, except the pox are still alive and well in a laboratory in Russia and America. But beyond that, it's annihilated, it's gone from the planet. We removed those. We, as a human species, removed those. So why not tuberculosis, which is the deadliest disease out there? It is the deadliest disease ever for humans. Why is it still there? We can treat this with injections and stuff. We have the tools. Why not? So this guy is amazing, but that's beside the point. This is about the Doge and not cutting government spending. This is about, once again, the politics stuff in America. I just want to point out this tuberculosis thing, because this guy is really, really good at fighting tuberculosis, and he's making significant changes in global policies, actually, to fight the disease. He's amazing. He's awesome. Just so you know. Anyways, let's go with the second video about Doge.
Morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. So I think one of the broadest misconceptions about the U.S. government at the moment is that the Trump administration is cutting the size of the federal government through the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. And in fact, in each of the first 3 months of the Trump administration, despite mass layoffs of federal workers and mass cuts to foreign aid and science research, the federal government has spent
mass cuts in foreign aids and science research, mass layoffs, and the results of all those people putting to the streets, no longer having any kind, or no longer having all that research done, no longer having all those those aid packages going out. What has it done?
Spent more in 2025 than it did in 2024 or 2023. Also, the margin is going up, not down. In short, the federal government is getting bigger and more expensive, and the federal deficit is also increasing. So if you're arguing that Doge is good because they're cutting the deficit and spending, or you're arguing that Doge is bad because they're cutting the deficit and spending, in both cases, I just disagree with your presupposition. And yet, at the same time, it's true that tens of thousands of people are losing their jobs, and there have been severe cuts.
Now, this is a big number. Tens of thousands of people are losing their jobs. Tens of thousands of people are losing their jobs. Can you imagine losing your job? what would it do to you, to your friends, to your family? That would be one person losing their job. These are tens of thousands going through that. That's a pretty horrible thing. The numbers are big, and they usually make it's so many. It's a number. These are real people losing their livelihoods, their houses. They get divorced, etc. They lose their children, maybe. That's all gone for a lot of people. 10,000.
To foreign aid and science spending. So what's going on here? So first, it's important to understand how the federal government actually spends its money. So yes, tens of thousands of employees of the federal government have been laid off in the last few months, but all federal employees combined only account for about 5% of US federal government spending. So even losing 10% of them, which is far more than have been fired thus far, would mean only cutting the budget by about 0.5%. The same is true for cuts to things like foreign aid and USAID. Altogether, that only accounts for about 1/2 of 1 cent of our tax dollar. So
they cut a lot of high numbers of people getting fired, stuff like that, but actually has done nothing on the grand scheme of things, a drop in an ocean, to lower government spending, which is the whole reason Doge was started in the first place. At least that's what they claimed it was for.
George W. Bush's program PEPFAR that has saved tens of millions of lives, all the money for the Global Fund that fights HIV, malaria, and tuberculosis.
The global funding against HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria, that's all been cut.
Tuberculosis, all of USAID, etc. All of that is only about 0.5% of the US federal budget. Cuts to it do not meaningfully matter to overall federal spending, but they are very politically divisive, which means they get a lot of attention, which makes it look like they're significant cuts.
So look like it is. Once again, deception. Once again, they're trying to make it seem like they're doing something while actually not doing anything. It's economical politician. It's economical politics, yes.
U.S. federal spending looks like this. We spend about 21% of all federal money on Social Security, our retirement plan for seniors. Another 15% goes to Medicare, our national program to provide health care for seniors. 13% goes to national defense, 13%...
Ludicrously high, by the way.
Goes to Medicaid, and 13% goes to interest on the debt, which will be going up again because we are spending more money and also taking less in. So right there, that's 75% of federal spending. Benefits for veterans are another 6%. Unemployment benefits, retirement benefits for federal workers, nutrition support add up to about 11%. USAID and much more fall into that 3% of other, and so even very minor increases in spending for big ticket items like defense mean that the US is spending more in 2025 than we were in 2024, despite hollowing out scientific research and foreign aid and other minor spending categories. The things we're cutting just aren't very significant. I mean,
the things they're cutting are not very significant. They are highly significant scientifically speaking. They save millions of lives. They prevent millions of deaths. Either way you want to look at it. And that's what they're cutting budget for? But not for a ludicrously large military, which they don't need at the moment. For what were the other things? There were many other things. This is the Social Security. So basically, if you finish your work, pension, stuff like that, important. Medicare is important. National defense, this could be a lot lower. This could be a lot lower. The interest rates, I don't understand how the whole that works in America. It's a weird concept to me. I don't understand it, so I cannot say anything about this. Yeah, there is not much you can cut, actually. If I look at this, the most important thing, Medicare is important, health is important. I don't know why they're different, don't know. Yeah, the national interest needs to be reduced, I guess. That's probably important. But I don't see anything that's not entirely needed except national defense. We have, I don't know if it's of GDPs, I don't know if the percentages are actually accurate compared to this. But if it is on GDP, which I don't think it is, we are umming and ahhing about spending 2% of GDP on national defense. And the number is probably not the same, but I see a 13% right here. You can deal with a little less there. You can cut that in by even half, and I still think you would have the biggest army in the world still. I'm pretty sure of that. So why cut the survival of hundreds of thousands of people? Why cut that? Weird. It sounds like a big deal because people think it's a big deal, but it's down there in the very tiny things over there. This is where they're cutting, not with the big ticket items over here. They're cutting right there. Yeah.
Saved tens of millions of lives and fueled research that saved tens of millions more, but I mean, they're not like expensive. Also, we're collecting fewer taxes, which is another reason why the budget deficit and federal debt are increasing faster than...
They're also getting lesser taxes. Then why not tax the companies? They have a lot of companies who have way too many tax benefits compared to the average Joe. And the companies can carry that cost. They can. They just don't want to. That's it. But that's the problem by having Congress members and the president themselves being company owners and having stocks and stuff like that. They want their companies to be worth more. So less taxes means more money in your company, right? Yeah, I see a trend here.
Than they were last year. Now, there may eventually come a time when there's a cut to the overall federal budget, but we haven't seen that yet, and frankly, we're unlikely to see it as long as everybody is focused on these tiny, tiny categories of spending. Like, you're just not going to get there by firing federal employees or canceling politically divisive small projects like heating support for low-income families or whatever, because there just isn't enough money in them. Instead, we are cutting things to make it look and sound like we are cutting things. This isn't like serious austerity being implemented by Doge to bring down the debt or deficit or whatever. This is a political choice made to enact a political worldview, and you can agree or disagree with that political worldview, just don't labor under the delusion that it makes the federal government less expensive. If you actually wanted to cut the deficit, you would have to implement real austerity measures, which would probably mean both decreasing spending and increasing taxes. That's what countries do when they're in an actual austerity mode. They cut spending on big ticket items like national defense and benefits for seniors, and they also raise taxes. So to be clear, fighting about whether to cut foreign aid is a political argument, not an economic one. It is quite literally like spending $10,000 a month with your spouse on rent and then having an argument with your spouse over whether you can afford one $50 dinner per month. Like,
it's a pretty good what do you call it, comparison, because it's the dinner would be something you talk about for a long time and it's special, so therefore you pay more attention to it. But 10,000 rent is a normal background thing, so you don't really pay attention to it, but it's stupidly much higher than the other is. I see ads about to start and I have to go for a quick bathroom break, so I'm gonna do a quick ad, take the bathroom break, and then we continue on and finish up because this one is only a few more seconds longer. So yeah, I think today was important to just bring out some political things and just get some summaries about what's happening in the world and, well, the Trump nonsense that's happening at the moment. And this is the Doge part, which is more Elon Musk, I believe, which is officially and not official, is officially the leader, but also not officially leader. So therefore, he can't be he can't be pulled into court because he's not an official government employee, but he can still make all the choices without any responsibility. Yeah, great deal again, once again. Give me a second. Ads are about to start, and I'll go for a quick bathroom break. Give me a second. I'll give you some music in the meantime. You know what? Let's do this. Aha! Oh, I have to change that. We do that. Activate this. And we give you a little bit of the screen, if I can find it. There it is. Hello. Wait, give me a second. Wait, Windows Capture? Oh, Windows Capture. Doesn't help if I do the wrong one. Which one is it? There's too many of these things. Game Capture, Media Player, no. Can't find it. Cannot find it. Oh, there's it. There we are. Aha, there we are. Yes. Give me a moment, I'll be right back. I've returned, and also I just noticed that I forgot to do a thing. Surprisingly, I know. I need to copy this here and put that down here. Then I have to unpin this, if I can. Can I unpin that? Unpin this message. There we go. We copy this whole thing. I put it in for both videos now. There we go, and we pin that. Ta-da! Now I know it doesn't work for YouTube. I have to actually make a separate new pinned comment. I don't think you can get two comments in there. Two pinned comments. I think that will be too big. I'm not sure if I write "do" correctly, but I don't care. I think it's ludicrous anyway. It was supposed to be a joke, you know. No, put them both. That's fine. Then we unpin you, and we yeah, that's fine. Now that's unpin message. Then a pop-up appears. Message pinned. Undo, and that gets in the way of. Come on, let me. Allow me. Go down, boy. Yes, this one. That one, yes, and we pinned that message from. There it is, John Green. There we go. Hey, gameplay, dude. I do, man. Sing the song. I forgot to pin this video about government spending, which they are trying to defeat by cutting in the wrong places. I think it was just something that it was a good accompanying video with all the Trump nonsense happening. With yeah, more lies and deceits. Surprise, surprise. The world's wild. It's absolutely wild.
The problem is not the dinner. So I just think it's important to understand that...
Music. Great music, but at the moment we need to listen to this. It's more important. Oh, by the way, Kemploy, hope you're having a good lunch, man. It's about lunchtime for me. I'm hungry. Anyways. Distractions.
Cutting foreign aid and science grants has not led to a reduction in overall government spending. In fact, overall government spending is going up. And indeed, cutting foreign aid and science grants cannot lead to a meaningful reduction in government spending because it's just too small a percentage of government spending. Hank, I will see you on Friday.
Now, while I was failing at making tea, I failed. While I was failing at that, actually, let's... Magnify. Oh, wait. During holidays, weekends, I usually eat late, like 6 p.m. Oh, that's pretty late. Yeah, that is late. But then you can eat with your significant other. I will say. I'm not sure if you're married. I don't know. Yeah, these were some, I think, pretty important videos to talk about. Actually, let's do magnification. What I'll talk about is. Camera quality is it's my phone, so it's gonna be a bit iffy. It's what I have, unfortunately. There we go. Bigger sizes, mega Asmo. Here he is. Behold the beauty. Anyways, the quality's ass. I know. Sorry about that. I just don't have any better cameras. I can't afford one. So I thought these videos were important. I thought it was important to share to. Mostly for the John Green movie at the start, the John Green video, because it just summarizes a lot of very important things that happen in America right now, and they have impact on my life here in the Netherlands, and very likely your life in wherever you live. So I think it was important to share that. It was just important to put down how many things are happening under that person, and then to add to that also the Doge thing here with this, which is Elon Musk mostly. Both manipulation, both hurting the Americans more than anyone else, but hurting the rest all the same. And I think it is dangerous to have people like those in charge, though. I think it's dangerous. And I'm pretty sure there will be, as I said, powder keg. At some point, something will happen. Something must happen. It's just a question of what, where, and who. So, yeah. I hope we can keep smiling about it and keep laughing at his imbecileness, and hopefully he gets sued so much that he actually has to care about the court orders, but doesn't seem like to go that way. So be careful out there. Take good care of yourself and enjoy Easter. And that's what I'm going to say about this. Well, no videos I will talk about, but that will give you a ban on Twitch if you show these. Camploy, you dirty, dirty man, you. A dirty mind is a joy forever. Also, great minds think alike. Anyways. Anyways. Yeah, I think it was important to share this today. So, I did. So, a bit of deviation from normal games. I will do more games in next week and stuff. But when I find something that is, I think, geologically important, I try to share it. And it's usually by watching many other people. Maybe I should do one of the guy over here, Legal Eagle. I watch him a lot, and he has a lot of good stuff. But, well, I'm not that knowledgeable about the law in America, and I don't live in America, so I don't really care about the law there. But he does make a lot of very good statements about what he's, you know, no trial, just prison, things like that, you know, which is in his case probably not clickbait, probably not. Anyways, I'm gonna wish you all a very merry Easter. Yeah, it's Easter weekend. Yeah, Easter. So make sure to find your eggs, to paint them, and hide them again for others. Yes, and look at you, Camploy. Find them, paint them, hide them again. Yes, and have fun with your family. Have fun. Enjoy the Easter bread. We usually use of Easter bread. I want it. Anyways, and do not get sick on chocolates. Yes, that's an order. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was mostly informative, and that you got to learn a few things. I mean, I didn't know all details myself, so I made some mistakes. Also, I need to throw this one away because it's worn down. I've gone through my... I like this sweater. Oh, I have to throw it away. Once I can afford new. Anyways, thanks for being here. You were awesome. And see you later. Goodbye. It's so weird to see Miss Mega Asmo, man. It's so weird. Big screen me. And this quality. No! We have a classic Austrian breed for Easter. Austrian bread for Easter. I was like, Austrian breed? What? A breed? Are you breeding something? No, bread. What do you call that? Spice. Not the June spice, but spice. The yellow, sugary middle you have in those long breads you have in Christmas. Oh, that stuff is delicious. I hope it's in there. Anyways, I'm hungry. I need to eat. It's time for food. Once again. Cheers. Else I'll never get my food, right? Let's see. Where's the thingy? Where is the thingy? There you are. There is the thing. I do the music now for you because I do not really know why I would, but I'm doing it. But I'll stop that because I probably get DMC struck for my amazing singing, of course. So have this instead. Go find those eggs. Yes. No context, just that. Perfect. Perfection. Perfect ending, boy. You're awesome. Anyways, cheers.